Benjamin Fulford speaking on May 8th, 2026. We are entering a very dangerous period because the Khazarian mafia knows that the entire world is now zeroing in on them, and they're trying yet another nasty bioweapons attack. I got this email sent to me from the KM via the CIA, and this is what it said. Just one vacuum-packed child's toy contaminated with hantavirus could potentially take out millions. Okay, this is a threat, alright? And now they're... take a look at this. They're putting ticks, contaminated ticks, all over the countryside. Take a look at this video of one being found.
I'm out here mushroom hunting, and I found... there it is, right there. The tick box. I'm not going to touch it because there's ticks all over that thing. I know there is. Look at them crawling out of it. Millions of them. You can see the tick.
So they're putting out, contaminated insects, attacking the American people and people around the world with bioweapons yet again. And then they're putting out this, they're trying to put out scare propaganda. Look at this so-called Korean ship with people being evacuated because of hantavirus. Okay, and my answer is, we're not going to give in to bioweapon blackmail. If they try to kill us again with bioweapons, what's going to happen is everybody involved and their entire extended families, going back 12 generations, will be removed from the human genome. Okay, we're not going to submit to blackmail like this. These are war criminals and mass murderers, and you don't negotiate with people like that. You kill them. Because they're trying to kill us. It's legal to do that. Alright, and now, what has happened now is that there's been a European alliance now against Israel. And this is because of the constant attacks on, the war crimes, but also the constant attacks on Christians in not just Israel, but around the world. Take a look at these two Tucker Carlson clips to see what I mean.
Well, Mike Johnson asked, Mike Johnson, why in the world would you ever appropriate money to a government that is murdering Christians? There was a study last year by a Jewish-Israeli group, which, God bless them, keeps track of assaults on Christians in Jerusalem, that found in 2025 there were 61 physical assaults against Christians, mostly against Christian clergy, in Jerusalem. Physical assaults. It is so common for Christian priests to be spit on and roughed up, to have their churches urinated on or defaced by radical religious Israelis, that some of them are afraid to go outside. That is a fact that Christians should understand.
Billy Graham must be rolling in his grave, because I knew him. He was not this way. Franklin Graham gave a sermon for Hegseth that would make Ted Cruz happy, and talked about how you had to sometimes kill everything in sight, men, women, children, and so forth, in the center courtyard of the Pentagon.
Well, that's like blasphemy, it seems to me.
It is to me, too. I mean, I'm a Christian, but I'm not that kind of Christian.
Well, I don't think there is that kind of Christian. That's my view.
So you have these mass murderers trying to kill us with bioweapons in order to try to extort money. And it's not going to happen. Now, the other thing that's not going to happen is that, the U.S. media keeps reporting that Trump's going to go on May 14th to have a summit meeting with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Well, I asked the Asian secret societies about that, and this was their answer. We, the Hongmen, have absolutely no intention of saving the current Israeli puppet regime. He's referring, of course, to that whole fake Donald Trump show that Americans are being subjected to every day, and with increasing disgust. 60% of Americans oppose what he's doing. Only 33% now support it. But, it's not over until it's over. But we know that Howard Lutnick was taken in for questioning, and he basically forced to admit he lied about going to Epstein's Island. There's very little doubt that Lutnick was, blackmailed for torturing and killing children, and We have it on the record that the fake Trump was doing that. And this is important because these people are going to face justice. And this is not abstract anymore because Canada participated in a meeting of 50 European countries. Okay, that's all of Europe. Everything to do with Europe. And they agreed. Well, listen to Prime Minister Carney speak about it.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Nous sommes réunis ici sur le territoire traditionnel non cédé de la nation algonquine Anishinaabe. Et cette reconnaissance du territoire témoigne de l'histoire commune des habitants de ce pays.
So he's making it clear, we're headed for war crimes tribunals, and the Anglo-Saxon military, the White Hats, together with the rest of the European military, are not going to let these criminals get away with it this time. There will be a new Nuremberg tribunals, and these people will face justice. They have no choice, and we're not going to, let them blackmail us with hantavirus, or apparently also they're going to try another UFO show, but it's just not going to work this time. We have to finish them off. And what's very interesting is that the French and the British sent a task force it's headed for the Straits of Hormuz, and this includes the French aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle. And what I'm hearing from my Iranian and British intelligence sources is that they're there to protect European and Canadian shipping and world shipping from American pirate attacks. Okay, the Iranians have agreed to allow the countries of Europe and places like Japan to continue to, buy oil from the Middle East without any interruption. It's only the United States that's being boycotted, and the British and French navies are going there to help protect their shipping in order to lower insurance costs. Think about that. This is an actual military campaign directed at the rogue Israeli puppet state, which is no longer the United States of America. It's no longer a democracy. It's a theocracy run by Satan worshippers, and the people you're seeing are actors reading scripts. We're sick and tired of this. The whole planet wants to move to, a normal development and creating a bright future. And, China now, most of Russia is heavily infiltrated by Chabad and needs to clean its own act up. But certainly the entire world now, including the European world, is lined up against the Israeli puppet state, and it's going to end. And when it does, all sorts of wonderful things are going to happen. Like I say, the Chinese, the Hongmen, they told us they fully support rebuilding the United States as a normal country. All your debts will be written off, and then huge new developments will start. All your infrastructure will be rebuilt. All your debts will be canceled. All you've got to do is get rid of these privately owned central banks and corporations, the Fortune 500. They have to be removed from control of Satanists like the Rockefellers, temporarily nationalized, and then without punishing real entrepreneurs, the whole system needs to be rebooted. We have to have a jubilee. This will be done in public with full consultation of all interested parties to make sure it's done to, hypercharge the U.S. economy into an era of fast growth that turns everyone into middle class or upper class. And just to give a taste of the sort of thing that will be coming to the United States once these criminals are overthrown, take a look at these 3 buildings in China. This is the sort of thing they're doing, what you can do when you have a government that's actually working to make people's lives better. But it's quite amazing. Take a look at these buildings.
These 3 are the most shocking skyscraper in the world, and all are located in China. First up, we've got the Tianfu Twin Towers in Chengdu. These things aren't just buildings, they're basically the world's biggest TV screens. Standing at 722 feet, they cost a cool $1.5 billion to put up. What's wild is the city screen feature. Both towers are wrapped in this high-tech LED mesh, covering over 500,000 square feet. While places like the Burj Khalifa do light shows, these were engineered from day one to be 360-degree high-def monitors. It's like having a pair of massive curved jumbotrons right in the middle of the skyline. Next is the Crystal Skywalk in Chongqing. And honestly, this one is just a flex. It's called a horizontal skyscraper because it's a massive glass tube sitting across the top of 4 different buildings. The whole Raffles City project cost nearly $4.9 billion. Engineers had to hoist a 12,000-ton steel structure over 800 feet into the air. If you're a thrill seeker, they have a double-person sky swing that literally tosses you out over the edge of the glass deck. Finally, we have the heavyweight champ, the Shanghai Tower. This is the tallest building in China, topping out at over 2,000 feet, and it cost about $2.4 billion. This thing is a masterpiece. To keep it from swaying in the wind, they installed a 1,000-ton steel pendulum that uses magnets and copper plates for frictionless braking. It's the only one of its kind. It also holds the Guinness World Record for the fastest elevators on the planet, hitting speeds of 46 miles per hour.
So, we're close to the inflection point, and I don't see any way that these people are going to escape justice. I don't want to give timing for it, but the United States is running out of money. They're running out of oil, and they're under international quarantine. So, it'll cause some suffering for the American people. There are already gas prices are up 40%, and even though energy companies are only 3% of the stock market, energy is about 70% of the real economy. So, when you see a 40% increase in gas prices, that's going to hurt the average people. And hopefully it'll hurt them enough that they'll go to Washington, D.C. and arrest all those traitors who are trying to cause a starvation crisis and kill you American Christians as we speak. So I hope the military white hats move in, arrest all those fake congressmen and the actors pretending to be president and war minister and all that. Just put them in jail. Let's end this. Okay, well that's what I have to say for myself today. Now I'd like to answer questions from readers and viewers.
Hi, Ben. We have our first question for today. During the past weeks, I am getting the impression that you are transitioning to favor Carney, even though he cannot be trusted. His election and power grab is near despotic. His position on joining the EU is tantamount to a grand sellout without permission from the Canadians. Why does it seem like you're currently favoring Carney?
Well, if you listen to Carney, and he says that he supports democracy, rule of law, and that's what we need. The United States is not a democracy. It's a theocracy run by Satan worshippers. So, you know, I'm not a 100% fan of Carney, but the fact is that right now, the British, the Canadians, the Australians, and I think a majority of American people all agree that we need to restore democracy and rule of law. That means removing the mass murdering criminals who occupy your government. So I'm not in favor of Carney. I'm just agreeing with him that we have a common enemy, which is the Khazarian Mafia and their puppet regime in the United States, which is not really being democratically elected, okay? It's a Nazi fascist dictatorship, and we're all trying to overthrow them. Once that's done, I'd be happy to see Carney removed. Next question.
Hi, Ben. Why doesn't Russia and or China give Iran nuclear weapons? Then the war would be over, since Iran has nuclear weapons and might use them if attacked again, almost using them as a defensive mechanism.
Well, the fact that Iran was able to destroy all U.S. bases in the Middle East and pulverize Israel without being hit by nuclear weapons is because they already have 400 solid-state nuclear-armed missiles given to them by North Korea. So they have nuclear weapons, and that's why they haven't been attacked. You know, the propaganda media in the United States is saying, oh, we got to prevent them from getting them. Well, they've had them since George Bush Sr. gave them neutron bomb-tipped missiles. And they don't want to use them, and they tried to return them in the Obama era, but Obama didn't want to accept them. But the fact is, Iran isn't being nuked because they already have nukes. Next question.
Hi, Ben. I can only think positively as of late at this point. I've been praying for what we need to be seen done. However, it seems the media is prepping everyone for the death of King Charles, since I keep hearing about it. It does seem that Prince William and Catherine are ready to rule, and hopefully you're right about their status as white hats, although lately Catherine appears very thin and haggard. So will we be hearing about any agreements between Russia and Ukraine?
Well, I've heard that the British have already made a deal with Russia over Ukraine, and it basically, what it means, it's the old agreement between Frederick the Great and the Russian Tsar, where the Russian zone of influence goes from the east of the Dnieper River, and the Western European zone of influence, or German, goes from the west of the Dnieper River. And in that agreement, Odessa will become a free port, sort of like Hong Kong, so that the Ukraine will not be landlocked, and they'll have access to exports and imports. And that's the general agreement that's been reached. So when that happens, it'll probably be made public when there is a formal change to King William, and hopefully that'll be soon, but we'll see. Next question.
Hi, Ben. Can you explain to us in a little bit more detail how the clone thing works? I think a lot of us are a little bit confused on this.
Clones?
When you mentioned that certain political figures are replaced or fake, how do the entire clone process
Oh,
work?
I see. Okay, look, I've been told for like years and years and years that they have clones, but the observable facts show that's not the case. What they have is they have actors who are being surgically altered to look like leaders. So, for example, you had a Hillary Clinton who was suddenly 20 centimeters shorter than the original, but with an identical face. If it was a clone, it would be identical. There are differences. You can see them. The ears are different, the height's different, the things that you can't alter with plastic surgery are different. So my understanding is they have many well-trained look-alike actors who can go in front of an audience and read a script and appear to be that person, but they don't have clones. Okay, it's not that. I just haven't seen evidence for that. My understanding is that clones of animals suffer from short lifespans, and I don't think there's any way to transfer memory to a clone. So I use Occam's razor. I find a more simple explanation, which is they find people who look like these leaders, and then they give them plastic surgery to make them look more like them, and then lots of training so they can act and sound like them. That's what's really going on. Next question.
Hi, Ben. Can you explain why China is building up a fleet of, quote, useless aircraft carriers? The strategy of President Trump to block Iran's oil instead of bombing it, in my opinion, is not stupid. Why should a fake Trump do this? The discussion you showed from Congress was not intellectually brilliant. I don't think it said much of anything. What is your strategic analysis about the situation by actual figures and not only by verbal information? And this is our last question for today.
Well, the price of gasoline is up 40% in the United States since March. Here in Japan, the price of gasoline is the same as it was in March, and I think you'll find it similar in other places outside of the United States. So the oil is flowing to everywhere except America, and military experts like Colonel Douglas Macgregor made clear that U.S. does not have the ability to shut the Straits of Hormuz. They just physically can't do it. Trump recently tried with Operation Freedom or something. He sent in a bunch of ships, and the Iranians are reporting that 4 were sank and 2 ran aground, and they were forced to retreat. So the U.S. Military is not able to blockade the Straits of Hormuz, and also countries like Saudi Arabia are not allowing them to use their airspace to attack Iran. So basically, the news you're getting in the United States is the opposite of the reality. What's happening is the United States, the Israeli puppet regime in the United States is being boycotted, not the other way around. When Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent tried to impose financial sanctions on oil companies, Chinese oil companies. They said no. And so now the Americans are trying to attack Chinese oil ships. That's not going to end very well.